All right, we just want to touch here on men's health and why pine pollen is so beneficial to men's health. I know that a lot of our consumers are men, but I think there's a lot of gray areas perhaps that they don't understand about the benefits of pine pollen and why it could be so beneficial to their health. So hopefully we can discuss these issues and give you a little bit more clarity on why it would be so beneficial to have this pine pollen superfood implemented into your daily routine.
Yeah, so if you're talking about the powder itself in terms of incorporating it into the daily routine, again, it's amazing in terms of its nutritional profile. It is going to help there's some studies showing that it helps the gut flora as well. It has an antioxidant effect, but it also has a detoxifying impact. So the cells, the nature of them is that they pull in xenoestrogens, they pull in environmental toxins into them. So if you're consuming the powder, it's going to go in there and bind to all these toxins that your liver is trying to put out, and it's going to actually act as a binder and carrier and pull it out in your stool. So it has a detoxifying impact. And when you're looking at the role of testosterone in terms of health, aging, muscle mass, we know for a fact that by the time you've hit your 25s, you're at peak of your testosterone, and then after that, it's just a gradual decline. By the time you're in your 40s and 50s and 60s, you're making a fraction of what you used to make. You're making 20 to 30% of what you used to make at your peak. Some individuals even less than that, and a lot of that has to do with your lifestyle, how much sleep you get. We know for sure if you're not getting more than 6 hours of sleep consistently, you're going to get a decline in your testosterone. Stress, in terms of how you deal with your stress and how much stress you're in, influences your adrenal gland, which influences your DHEA production, which leads into a lower level of testosterone. Yeah. So we know that a lot of the lifestyles that individuals have is conducive to having even more lower testosterone than it would have been for their age group if they were healthy. So pine pollen is a nutritional food and a nutritional supplement that can fill in that gap for a lot of individuals. In men that are not that old, that are younger, but oriented towards sports, endurance sports, high performance elite athletes, it acts as a natural substance that is going to boost and to support the processes that the exercise is already triggering in your body. So if you're doing like an intense set of cardio and an intense set of exercise, you're going to boost your testosterone naturally, right? So what this does is you boost that, and then you add in a phytoandrogen that can support that processes that already were triggered. You're amplifying it. So that's one reason why we notice great improvement, and athletes really rave about it, is because they're already in a scenario where they're boosting their androgens, but now they're adding in some residual impact to that, so they're noticing the increased impact.
I've had people say as well, it's just a good way to get through that plateau. Like, you're at the gym consistently, you feel like you're stuck, or you're working and training out a lot, and you just get to a point where you feel like you're not making any gains, you're not getting any better. I mean, this is a great way to get past that little bit.
Yeah, and you're at a stage where you're not shaving any more fat, and not putting any more muscle, and that equilibrium has been reached. So think of this as an enzymatic reaction that's going to
just get you past that
tipping point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The other impact of it is because, more so in the sense of pollen, in terms of its ability to detoxify the xenoestrogens, the external, the foreign estrogens out of the system. As you pull those out, well, estrogens and androgens, they have like this teeter-totter type of a pattern. So as you get these environmental estrogens out of your system, it's going to make your own androgens work better for you. So it's got that impact as well. And another thing to mention, actually, in terms of men's health, a lot of athletes they ask us this question. Well, how do you compare pine pollen to, let's say, a testosterone prescription?
Yeah.
A prescription testosterone is something that's going to have a negative feedback loop into your brain to tell your testes to make less testosterone. So a lot of males using prescription testosterone, over time, they end up needing the testosterone prescription in order to actually get the same level of activity and impact from their testosterone. In fact, it leads into the testes become underactive. So it leads into a long-term low testosterone status. Whereas pine pollen, it doesn't have enough testosterone, it doesn't have enough DHEA to actually tell the brain, hey, slow down how much you're producing. And then B, it has a phytoandrogenic property, meaning that it does that irreversible stimulation of DNA receptor sites and receptor sites in general to actually bring about the androgenic cascade.
Yeah, that brings up another question too that I hear pretty periodically is like, what if you are an extreme athlete and you're basically worried about taking something like pine pollen because you're going to be tested for something, an illegal substance or something that's going to be, shouldn't be in your body that could disqualify you from a competition or a sporting event of some sort. I mean, it'd be nice to get a little bit more clarity on something like that.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it being a natural androgen in nanogram doses. It is legal. It's not going to impact your test results. It's not going to have a negative impact in terms of your athletic, ethics of how you're getting yourself in there. It's just a nutritional boost to what you're already doing, as opposed to it's a nutritional hack as opposed to a medicinal, pharmaceutical hack.
Yeah.
So it's the pharmaceutical hack is the one that's illegal, whereas the nutritional aspects of this would be kind of like boosting your B12 levels as a way of getting energy. This is boosting your androgens with some phytoandrogens to get more out of your exercise, more out of your input.
Yeah. Another cool thing to touch on men's health is obviously the libido. I feel like libido is a huge thing. Like this is a lot of the reasons people are coming to the pine pollen is they're obviously independently researching how to naturally boost libido. And I think pine pollen is one of those things that come up very periodically.
Yeah.
I feel like pine pollen is one of your better sources. I mean, based on our testimonial, like maybe we could have a little bit of science behind it on why pine pollen is so great for boosting libido.
Yeah, I think the science of it is going to come out and build up again more and more as this, the tipping point of what we know about pine pollen expands. But if I was to comment about that, is from the plant kingdom, we know that these phytoandrogens, they boost nitric oxide cycle. Now, if you think about nitric oxide cycle, we have the same enzymes from our androgens shifting into our nitric oxide cycle. And if you're boosting nitric oxide production, basically you're going to increase microcirculation to the organs.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the libido and the erection enhancing impact from the pollen. We don't really, in terms of human trials, we don't really have any human trials that actually put that in paper and follow it up. But we just know from everyone that's been using it and they notice an improvement. So if we put 2 and 2 together in terms of its role, the role of the phytoandrogens in the plant kingdom and the role of these phytoandrogens in the human body, I think what's happening is that these phytoandrogens is boosting into the nitric oxide cycle, similar as impact as L-arginine impact in blood flow and increasing that.
Yeah,
which is another thing to consider about the powder is the powder itself has arginine in there, so whereas the tincture will just have the phytoandrogens.
Yeah, and I really feel like that's also just, anybody that has high libido levels is really optimally healthy, and obviously having the access to all the nutrition you need to build those building blocks to have all those necessary means of having that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a male, you're wondering about pine pollen, whether it's powder, whether it's a tincture in your routine, check out our blog online about the phytoandrogens in pine pollen. Look us up, CanadianPinePollen.com. Sign up for our YouTube video. We've made a series of these videos to help answer any questions you might have about how to incorporate the pollen into your routine and what it can do for you.